You're listening to ARC. I almost feel it's an accomplishment that we've made it to episode 4 without mentioning this guy.
Dr. Jones, you're a man of many talents.
Indiana Jones. The most famous archaeologist in the world, fictional or otherwise. And it isn't just civilians like me who can't think about digging up ancient stuff without thinking about Indiana Jones. I've probably spoken to 20 archaeologists, geologists, or paleoanthropologists in the last year, and several of them have mentioned Harrison Ford's alter ego as a major source of inspiration. Not seriously because they want to carry whips or fight Nazis, but as a cultural icon, someone they watched on TV as kids that made them think science would be cool. So my very unscientific deduction is that Indiana Jones is responsible for a not insignificant amount of people getting into sciences like archaeology and paleoanthropology, which is great. But Dr. Jones also has a backstory. The idea of the whipping explorer comes from somewhere.
Trust me.
And for all the people he may have inspired, there are others that have gotten a different kind of message.
You feel that at this moment, maybe I don't belong here. That feeling always lingers around you, you know.
And if you love Indiana Jones, don't worry. This isn't an Indiana Jones hit piece. He's just a symbol. This is episode 4 of the season of the Unburied podcast about the Taung Child, but especially in this episode about who gets to discover fossils and do research, who gets to own the bones, and what that means for the rest of us. My name is Rasmus Spitz, and we call this episode The Myth of the Explorer. We'll start in Taung, trying to locate another legend. And unlike Indiana Jones, this man is as real as they get.
Oh, is it him there in the yard?
Yeah. My colleague Neil and I are driving around Taung with our guide Batabile Mike Dichaba, looking for a man named Lungile, whom Mike says we absolutely have to meet.
Yeah, this is my house.
Amazing.
This is where I grew up. How are you, leader?
At first, I don't know why Mike wants us to meet Lungile. The small house on the outskirts of Taung looks like any other house around here. But it isn't just any other house, just like Lungile isn't just any other guy.
My name is Lungile Ronald Keswa.
And where are we now?
Right now we are at Lokaleng at number 142B in Viertien, the Greater Taung Local Municipality, Northwest Province, the global village Taung, Zulu.
And what title do you want to use for this podcast?
Well, I'm a creative anthropologist, my elder. That's what I can tell you. Okay. The rest is history.
The plain looking outside of Lungile's house is deceiving. Because on the inside, it looks like nothing I've ever seen before.
Come. Thank you. Come to the palace and have a glimpse of what I'm doing. This is Grace Masuku, the mama who mentored me. This is my first meeting with Credo Muto when he blessed me. And he gave me this sword as a gift.
Sure enough, this is where Lungile lives. In the middle of the floor is a sink tub full of water. Music blasts from a small speaker on the counter. But what makes this home unique is the art. There are pictures and paintings everywhere. On the floor, leaning against the walls. And then there's a huge one covering an entire wall.
So I see it almost is in the style of The Last Supper, né? Like the famous picture from...
That's what inspired this
podcast. Yeah. And you're seeing a whole group of people. You'll tell me soon.
As it turns out, Lungile's house is the current exhibition space for a whole collection of artworks dedicated to evolution and the Taung Child in particular. And Lungile is its curator.
Yes,
Yeah.
very true. There's a story here.
Yeah.
A great story. I mean, that was the centerpiece of the exhibition. Yeah. The title of the portrait is called Dipuisano. Dipuisano is a Setswana word, means negotiations. So here it's a group of experts in different fields, in biological anthropology, in heritage, in spirituality, in labor matters, coming together to discuss the discourse of the Taung skull. But interesting enough is that this is the story of the imagination of the curator, let alone the artist, because these people in real life, they have never met like this.
Yeah.
The painting is an imaginary meeting of dignitaries. Charles Darwin, Credo Mutwa, and of course, Raymond Dart.
We admire the greatness that Raymond did for this country, but at the same time, we say that it is a time to say that let's correct the wrongs that he did ethically. So, the unethical part of things.
But also locals. Amongst them, a representative of one of the mine workers from Taung.
And then this is Tatu Majola, a resident of Buxton, a former mine worker of the Buxton Northern Lime Mine, the one that operated in Buxton digging lime. So Majola...
Lungile, as you will have realized, is passionately invested in the history of the Taung Child, but also his hometown of Taung. He runs study groups and curates exhibitions and debates evolution, societal issues, and of course the Taung Child itself. And for him, the anniversary isn't simply a cause for celebration. It's an occasion to reflect on a history full of contradictions.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, the story of the Taung skull has always had trials and tribulation.
Lungile keeps talking while we get ready to pick up Zola, another man from Taung, another member of the Taung Child study group. We headed to the local dam because, as Lungile says, it's the perfect place to reflect on the complex relationship between the area and the skull that put it on the map 100 years ago. A good place to end this story. But before the end, I've got another scientist to introduce you to. A contributor to the Taung special issue in the South African Journal of Science, but also a local of Taung, and one of the people depicted on the giant painting in Lungile's house. She's sitting right next to Charles Darwin himself.
Quite shocking. I mean, Darwin is amongst them. I mean, we've got your contemporaries like Miriam Tawana, born in 1981. So he has never met Darwin. In our own imagination, we said, let them come together and discuss the journey of the Taung skull and moving beyond 100 years of the discovery.
My name is Miriam Tawane. I studied at Wits University. I grew up in Taung.
In hindsight, it makes a lot of sense that Miriam Tawane would end up as a paleoanthropologist working for the National Heritage Council, as she does now. As a science-minded young woman from Taung, it seems natural that the Taung Child would be on her radar. But it wasn't. Not really.
So I grew up having heard stories about the skull. But the information that we had, it was not scientific information of what does it represent within the academic landscape, within the heritage.
So Miriam did not set out to study our distant relative from her hometown. She signed up for a short course in paleoanthropology, almost on a whim.
And during one of the lectures in paleontology, I got introduced to these fossil finds in South Africa. And then I remember getting for the first time the scientific information about the Taung skull, the relevance, the contribution it made to the story of evolution in Africa as we know it, the evidence it provided with some hominids to prove that really humanity began here.
And for the first time, Miriam was able to connect her hometown with the greater scientific history, the history of all of us.
And that is when I decided to change the course of my academic career, and we are here today, yeah.
Miriam Tawane became the first black woman to receive a doctorate in paleoanthropology in South Africa. A journey, she says, would have been harder if it hadn't been for a tiny group of fellow students.
There was a little group of us, young black females at the time. I think we were 3 in the department.
In spite of support and mentorship in the department, the simple fact that Miriam and her 2 fellow students were the only black women around meant that self-doubt was part of the journey.
You feel that at this moment, maybe I don't belong here. That feeling always lingers around you, you know. But we did the journey. We were supported by our supervisors. We were supported by our peers, and we got the degrees at the end of the day.
But Miriam's own story isn't just one of obstacles and eventual triumph against the odds. It's also a story of the benefit of having more than one perspective. How this can help move the conversation forward for both science and communities like the one in Taung. How that works in practice, Miriam will explain later. But before that, I want you to consider this. Like I said before, in hindsight, Miriam Tawane is the perfect South African paleoanthropologist. She's smart and connected to scientific history through the place she grew up. And yet, she didn't always feel like she belonged in the field. And the reason is complex, like South Africa usually is. There's colonial history, apartheid, and discrimination based on gender and race. But there's also this guy.
Those aren't big birds, sweetheart. They're giant vampire bats.
Indiana Jones. And again, this isn't really about him, so let's leave him behind and focus instead on what created him, or the myth he's born from, the explorer.
The myth of the explorer is this idea that we have these brave members of society who go out and they conquer these new lands.
This is Sheila Athreya.
I'm a professor of anthropology in the U.S. at Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas.
Incidentally, Sheila Athreya is officially an explorer herself, designated by National Geographic. A title with a history.
When this identity of an explorer first developed, it developed during colonial Europe. So the unknowns for them were Central Africa and Australia and Antarctica. So the myth of the explorer or the explorer narrative is the idea that there is this intrepid member of society who represents the society and is sort of carrying their brave identity into this wilderness and into this unknown. This ideal explorer is usually a very specific demographic, which is white and male.
Livingstone, a Scottish missionary and explorer, had disappeared.
So this is the general idea. Someone going somewhere unknown and dangerous to bring something back. A purpose, an arc, the backbone of a good story.
And lo and behold, after months of searching, Henry Stanley finally did encounter Livingstone.
An exploration in and of itself isn't bad. It's an expression of curiosity, a driver of humanity, especially for scientists and researchers, like the ones we're collaborating with for this show. But when the term was popularized in the 1800s, something happened that changed the game.
Whether in bustling cities or remote villages, the 1880s and 90s were years of terrifying upheaval in Africa.
So the scramble for Africa, how much land can each of us own?
All this because of massive sea changes. Not in Africa itself, but in Europe, which was in the throes of the Industrial Revolution.
And also, the Industrial Revolution led to a need for more resources that were available in the interior of Africa, such as wood and ivory and rubber.
Palm and peanut oil would literally grease the engines of the revolution.
And those were the two main developments, right? Like a technological and a socio-political one.
Prosperous middle classes now demanded luxuries from overseas.
To put this into perspective, just how much these developments supercharged colonial era ambition, you can, for example, look at the land itself. In 1870, 10% of Africa was under European control. By 1914, this increased to almost 90%.
In the space of just 20 years, 90% of Africa was brought under European occupation. Europe had captured a continent.
The early explorers had been writers, missionaries, and simply travelers. But increasingly, the idea of the explorer changed.
The scientific explorer did eventually emerge from the explorer identity. The goal for them was to, push back against the ignorance of this region, of these people. They weren't enlightened. They didn't have all these things brought to them. And so we're going to learn and document about them. But really the goal is to then learn and document about them so we can bring our culture to them.
And during these years, explorers became servants of empires.
And they were also kind of trying to document the natural world, in some cases, in a lot of cases, in order to document what was present in this new possession of Belgium or Germany or England or, France. Everything in it was theirs to possess.
When paleoanthropology became a formal science in the late 1800s, it grew out of these ideas: to find, to catalog, and to possess.
After that point, the field was built out of and continues to extol fieldwork and discovery over other forms of knowledge building. Finding a fossil, whether or not you are well-versed at comparative anatomy, whether you're good at evolutionary theory and can logically, analyze this and fit it into a place on our evolutionary tree, that's not how you're evaluated. You're evaluated if you find something, if you discover something and name it.
Finding a fossil and giving it a name was the crowning achievement of a career. Like finding a fossil inside a block of lime and naming it Australopithecus africanus, like Raymond Dart did.
It had to involve some sort of intrepid journey to an unknown land. These are all elements of an explorer's narrative. The emphasis on the fact that South Africa was a backwater was really important. Was overemphasized in his story. The details of him discovering this fossil in a crate, and chipping away, grueling chipping away for 73 days, as he was described, having done what he didn't do.
Whether this was the story that Dart wanted to tell or not isn't so important. The idea, the explorer myth, was so powerful that this was the only way a story of finding a fossil was ever going to be told. The spotlight was inevitably going to be pointed at a white European man in Africa. And it's kind of still the case.
That's really what was valued 150, 200 years ago during colonialism, because that was all knowledge building was. I found it, I'm naming it. And we haven't really done a lot to shift what we value.
As a case in point of how the story we tell about fossil finding and paleoanthropology haven't changed a whole lot in 100 years, several of the researchers we've spoken to bring up a much more recent discovery also made in South Africa. Homo naledi, a human ancestor presented in a video by National Geographic 10 years ago.
We do have our genus. What these discoveries are telling us is that there's a lot out there to be found.
This is star explorer Lee Berger announcing the discovery.
When I first saw these images by my exploration team, I knew that we had to act. So I called National Geographic to put together an expedition, fast.
This isn't really about Lee Berger or National Geographic, or even Homo naledi for that matter. It's about how these stories are told.
To get to it, you have to move through a 7.5-inch slot, wiggling your way across sharp rocks before you drop into this remarkable little chamber. And the floor is quite literally comprised of parts of the bodies of these human ancestors.
There's challenge, danger, mystery, triumph, and a charismatic voice that gets foregrounded in the narrative.
All right. You got the fossil.
But when stories are told in this way, it obscures an important fact. This work is always teamwork, according to director of the Paleo Research Institute at the University of Johannesburg, Dipuo Khotleng.
I think it had over plus minus 40 researchers working on that publication, just that single publication when it was announced. So it definitely is a multidisciplinary team that is announcing this discovery.
Lee Berger didn't respond to our emails, so you won't hear from him. But again, it isn't really about him. It's about a way of talking about discoveries and exploration that runs so deep it's difficult to escape. Explorer narratives are told like fairy tales, heroes' journeys, just like Hollywood movies and children's books or video games. It's familiar and exciting, but it isn't necessarily accurate. Scientific discovery usually doesn't fit into a neat narrative arc like that.
Yes, there is a prominent player in that discovery. However, a multidisciplinary team of geologists, of anatomists, of people who understand sediments, coming together and providing a story. It's a story. It's necessarily a story. It's not just about one fossil that is being discovered.
It's much, much harder to tell a moving story about 40 researchers than a single heroic explorer. And it's harder to pitch to news editors too. Exciting stories aren't the issue. They're necessary if anyone is going to care. But if we keep telling the stories the way we always have, the stories themselves can be exclusionary and static.
The issue is not necessarily the one white guy, but the issue is if we are presenting the science to a community that does not identify with the science, and the person who even the community does not identify with, how do you engage?
If most people only ever see scientists that look nothing like them, telling stories that don't include them, why should they care?
Hello. How are you, sir?
Below the hills made from ash in Buxton, Taung, where Mike Dichaba has just given us a tour of the World Heritage Site that's still closed to the public. We're just in time to meet someone else Mike says we need to speak to.
What's going on? You find me, I'm on my way to somewhere.
It's the local chief who's something important he wants to share.
We've got a problem in Buxton. The problem is not me, it's not him, it's a general problem of the community. Maybe, are you taking this now? Because it's very important.
You want it recorded?
Yes, I want it recorded.
So he postpones his trip and we make it official.
Okay, my name is Khosi Litsukile Kwene, under the traditional leadership of Khosi Kholo of Batlapimbaka Puruhutswana in Taung, Khosi Tsepo Mankuruane. So I'm the local chief of this village where we host the Taung Child fossil site.
Khosi Litsukulele Kweni says that the local community in Buxton is far from excited about the heritage site. In fact, some of them would rather see it vanish altogether.
So there's a lot of no, you can destroy the heritage site, let mining come back. It's a fact which in the minds of the community. And some of our community members, they put this thinking and thoughts within our community.
That they should rather just bring mining back instead of...
Yeah, because they don't see the actual beneficiation of the heritage site.
Across the road from where we're standing, the heritage site is quiet. Below the mine dumps and the cliffs, the old mining compound and a set of new buildings are clean and tidy, but unfinished and not open to the public. And the community, according to the chief, feel like they've been kept in the dark.
Do we feel like custodians?
Yeah.
No, not right now. We don't feel like custodians right now. We feel like we have been used as tools to build for someone else because we are not involved in decision making.
Tools to build for someone else. Not much different from the mine workers of the past. The chief says that while the construction of the visitors center has been ongoing for close to 20 years, only last year he's been invited to participate on behalf of the community.
About a year ago, last year, the whole of last year, at least, I saw that, no, these guys are becoming right now. The department and the government is becoming right now. We had every month a meeting of, what do you call this thing? Investment forum, where we plan about, do we need a hotel here? Do we need a ferry wheel? Do we need what? Do we need what? Chief, what are you saying? What can we do? That is last year. But the whole from this thing was established, I think, 2003 or 2004. There were never those stuff. Only after years and years of struggle, we had at least a seat in the table, on the table.
The issue is inclusion. The site needs to be open to the public, and when it does, the local community must be ready to provide services. Jobs here are few and far between, but it doesn't have to be that way, because the village has potential.
We are the most diverse village, I think, in Taung. We've got all the languages, and we, again, I've heard we can start our own language again, mixing Xhosa with Tswana. We've got like a Fonaka law going on in our village, so that history must be protected, as well as you see how beautiful our village is. Very beautiful. So we need to protect that as well. When I say visitors must come here, it's not only archaeological, it's cultural, and it's the natural beauty of the place as well, where you've got Mr. Nichaba taking guys for, what do you call this, works of?
Oh, hiking.
Hiking, yeah, I want that word, hiking. You've got hiking guys all over the place. Historically, this place, you've got this very significant historical background to the whole of Taung. Yes.
Almost the whole of South Africa, in the way that mining connects with migration, connects with, it's a bit of a microcosm of the whole place in a way.
Yes, of course.
But all the potential aside, the chief says the people in the village feel just as excluded as when the discovery itself was made 100 years ago, presumably by someone who lived right here.
I heard that you are preparing for a centenary. You can go in the village and ask them, what do they know about the centenary?
Yeah.
You are going to get one answer. We don't know nothing about the centenary. What you are talking about? I haven't even seen the skull myself. I've seen it in pictures. But so what I want to say is the people of this government, private sectors, universities, they don't know the people of Buxton. They are using the people of Buxton maybe to benefit themselves. I know that the skull is very educational for them and the world. But for us, what do we get?
It's important to say that we don't know the specifics of the engagement between the community and the provincial department in charge of the site. And we don't have their version because they never responded to our emails. But this is Kosi Letsukolele Kweni, the local chief and neighbor's version. The community is still excluded from their history, 100 years later. In a village next to a closed mine with few other job opportunities, it's obvious that the community hopes that the World Heritage Site can bring them jobs. But a good relationship isn't just in the interest of the community. Here's Taung local and paleoanthropologist Miriam Tawane.
When community members associate with the place and they feel like they are part of the site, they are the first people who will protect the site from a lot of factors that could actually lead to deterioration or even endanger the site. So that was our point of departure, that we educate the communities, we educate the scholars so that they feel that pride that I am part of this site that is really part of the knowledge. They are part of the value chain, if I may use that word, within the heritage sites.
So how is this going in Taung? Do people feel connected? Are they interested?
Do you know what the Taung skull is?
Is the skull of a child who passed.
In the area around Buxton and Greater Taung, we did an informal study to see how many people knew about the site and the Taung Child.
Yeah, it was found by people from other places. Yeah.
And the results were mixed. Some knew a lot and others had never heard about the child or its famous skull.
You don't know? Okay.
There was a mine there in Buxton, Nolim, where they found the Taung skull there. Yeah, which represent the beginning of man, human, basically human nature in Taung. They discovered the human nature in Taung.
In our very unscientific study, 6 out of 10 knew about the Taung skull. And if this is going to improve, according to Miriam Tawane, we need to look at how science is presented.
This wealth of knowledge, is it for us, the learned, or is it for us to share with the people on the ground? What are we doing to bridge that gap? So science needs to be inclusive so that after you have written this good scientific paper that has been peer-reviewed, I feel some conscious to really put it in a layman's language so that the people it speaks about can really learn something from it. They can understand the writings that you've put together. That's something we don't do. After we have published the papers, we wait for them to be referenced by our peers. But whether the message gets to those people that are part of the communities that we have done the studies on, we really never follow up on that.
We're nearing the end of the story. And like the curator Ronnie Keswa from the beginning of the episode said, the best place around here to reflect on the 100 years of the Taung Child is at the dam outside Taung itself. We've come here with Lungile, Mike Dichaba and Zola, members of the local impromptu study group of the Taung Child and its legacy.
So the people of Taung, they use this dam for many things. For fishing, for swimming, for recreation, for performing rituals as well. You see, as you can see, there are candles. They come here and pray, and others here come for monkey jungle.
The still blue water extends in front of us as we sit down on the hillside. The sun is close to setting, and the otherwise dim-colored landscape is glowing. It's undeniably beautiful.
The water of this dam is one of the cleanest water in terms of naturally clean. There are no chemicals. This water is not contaminated. But when the rainy seasons have come to stillness, the water is pure blue, clean, crystal clean. But sadly, so there's no water in Taung as we are speaking.
Wait, there's no water in
the village. We don't have water in our taps right now. There's been a crisis of water for nearly over 8 years in Taung. We don't know where this water is going to. We don't know who's stealing this water. We don't know who's making money out of this water.
Water issues in Taung are a fact. But I have no idea whether this is connected to the dam. And Lungile doesn't either. It's more of a metaphor, I think, about the potential that's right in front of us but remains unrealized. Of how the people of Taung are not benefiting enough from being part of this important story.
Do you think that there should be that, like the descendants of the miners, they should benefit?
Absolutely. Yes, of course, but not only the descendants of the miners, the community in general. It is important for the current generation to develop an interest in this space of heritage.
Spending the day with Lungile, Mike and Zola has been a lesson in complexity. The three men don't hold back when criticizing the people they blame for the ills of the community. The politicians, or as they call them, the poverticians. But at the same time, the three men has also helped me answer the question at the heart of the story. The big why. Why should we study ancient fossils, especially when there are so many other things that need attention? I think part of the reason is that we can't help ourselves. We want to understand where we came from in order to feel like we belong. And the Taung Child and its tiny skull helps. Here's Lungile.
Above all, it has also instilled the love of heritage of South Africa as a whole. And all the nation that lives in South Africa. I'm one person, fortunately, I've traveled. I have friends as far as Germany. And one of the things that bring us together is the story of the Taung skull. So the Taung skull has extended my umbilical cord to the other nations of the world. I feel that I belong to the Rainbow Nation. We are one big family.
In spite of the detours of bad science, racism and exclusion, the little relative who came to an unfortunate end around here so many years ago showed that humans originate in Africa. It was an important piece of evidence that proved that we are, in fact, all connected. That all of us belong.
I want to believe if anybody follows the story of human evolution, they would be proud to be interested to come and explore this rural, underdeveloped, neglected place. So, Taung is Taung, my brother, and welcome to Taung.
Thank you. And you?
I'm a lion. Obviously, I must be associated with Taung. Taung is a place of lions. So Taung skull, to me, it means a lot because it's where I've started to see I'm a political anthropologist. So politics and anthropology, they are twins. So Taung skull, number one.
Thank you.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, well, Taung skull has instilled sense of pride in me, first and foremost. But what is sense of pride? Sense of pride, it's the responsibility that I must carry in a society to become a better person. Taung skull has instilled dignity in me. What is dignity in me? It is the spirit to pursue knowledge, to make sure that every night when I sleep, at least my brain has accumulated something new, something that will enlighten my life tomorrow when there's sunrise.
You've been listening to Season 2 of the Unburied podcast by ARC and the Human Evolution Research Institute at the University of Cape Town. This series is written, sound designed, edited and mixed by myself and Neil Liddell, based on original research from the special issue of the South African Journal of Science, the Taung Child Then and Now, commemorating its centenary in a post-colonial age. Special thanks to Batabile Mike Dichaba, Dane Dodds and Pauline Shrewsbury. If you want to help us reach more people, you can do so by writing a review and giving us some stars wherever you listen to the show. And of course, by sharing this story. Thank you so much for listening.